What if I told you about a guy who was a 4-time All-Star, an NBA champion, had a fiery attitude with a silky smooth jumper, and was one of the best big men of his era? Just disappeared one day. That's what happened to our guy Rasheed Wallace. One day he was playing a huge role for the Detroit Pistons during their incredible run, and the next, he kind of faded into the background and is barely being mentioned these days. But how did this even happen? Where did he go? And where is he now? Rasheed's greatness didn't start in the NBA. Back in college, he was first-team All-ACC player in 1995 and made the consensus second-team All-American that same year while at the University of North Carolina. Before that, he was a standout freshman in 1994, earning the spot on the All-ACC freshman team. They loved him so much, they honored his number 30 jersey. Not everybody gets that kind of love. He might have been known for yelling "ball don't lie" after a missed free throw or bucket, but Rasheed's legacy goes way beyond that. He played with heart, intensity, and skill and could score, rebound, block shots, and defend with the best of them. He wasn't just a player. He was a vibe, a competitor who played with fire, stood up for his teammates, and always left it all on the court. Whether you loved him, you hated him, or you was afraid of him, you felt him every time he played. Rasheed Wallace was born on September 17, 1974, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Growing up in the city's Germantown neighborhood, he was the youngest of 3 sons. Raised in a single-parent household, his mother, who worked in the Pennsylvania Department of Welfare, played a major role in shaping his character and work ethic. Despite facing the struggles that came with growing up in a single-parent home, Rasheed's family was incredibly close-knit. His mother, in particular, pushed him and his brothers to do well in school and stay focused on their goals, making sure they had the right guidance and support. As a young boy, Rasheed's athletic abilities became clear very early on, especially when he got to high school. This was where Rasheed began to make a name for himself in basketball. He was already showing signs of a dominant force on the court with his unique height, strength, and skills, catching the attention of local fans and scouts alike. During his senior year, he earned several prestigious awards. Notably, he was named USA Today's High School Player of the Year and was selected as a 2-time Parade All-American, which is a major honor for high school athletes. His exceptional talent on the basketball court was complemented by his performances in other sports, as Rasheed was also a standout player in baseball, track, and the high jump. These multi-sport achievements highlighted his versatility as an athlete, making him one of the most well-rounded players of his class. Rasheed was a literal force in his senior year, where he averaged impressive numbers, despite playing in a high school league that didn't always receive the attention of larger programs. His scoring ability with his skill on both the offensive and defensive side helped put his team on the map, and his performances in the Round Ball Classic, where he scored 30 points, proved he was ready for the next level. Rasheed wasn't just focused on basketball though. He knew the importance of well-rounded development, which showed in his participation in multiple sports. His achievements in track and field, along with baseball, only added to his reputation as a top-tier athlete. After his standout high school career, Rasheed Wallace was recruited by some of the top college basketball programs, but he eventually chose to play for the University of North Carolina. The decision to attend UNC was heavily influenced by legendary coach Dean Smith, who saw Rasheed's potential and offered him a place on the Tar Heels. Wallace's time at UNC was a significant period in his life, both personally and professionally, as it set the stage for his future success in the NBA. During his 2 years at North Carolina, Rasheed continued to develop his game under the guidance of Coach Smith. He was named second-team All-American during his sophomore year, an impressive achievement that helped solidify his place as one of the top college players in the country. But Rasheed's success wasn't just about individual accolades. His presence on the court helped lead the Tar Heels to the 1995 NCAA Final Four, showcasing his ability to perform in high-pressure situations. His time at UNC also brought him into contact with future NBA coach Larry Brown, who would later coach him in Detroit. The connection with Brown helped Wallace adapt quickly to the professional level once he made it to the NBA. Rasheed's college career was a crucial learning phase where he honed his skills and became more comfortable with his role as a team player. His time in North Carolina also taught him the importance of teamwork and how to integrate his skills into a winning system. While at UNC, he was surrounded by other talented players, and it was clear that he was ready to make the leap to the next level. By the time he left after his sophomore season, Rasheed Wallace was a polished, multi-dimensional player, and his college years provided the perfect foundation for the next step in his basketball journey. Rasheed Wallace's professional journey began in 1995 when he was selected 4th overall in the NBA draft by the Washington Bullets, of course now known as the Washington Wizards. The NBA was about to witness the arrival of a raw talent, and Wallace's skills, particularly his combination of size, athleticism, and versatility, made him a promising prospect. He entered the league with high expectations, and the Washington Bullets were hopeful that Wallace could contribute immediately. His rookie season was a solid start to what would become an eventful NBA career. He quickly made his mark by averaging 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists per game. His strong play earned him a spot on the NBA All-Rookie Second Team, a recognition only further highlighted his potential. Wallace was a skilled all-around player with the ability to affect the game in multiple ways. Despite being a rookie, he showed flashes of brilliance, and it seemed clear that he was ready to take the next step in his career. However, his first season wasn't without its challenges. He fractured his left thumb during the season, forcing him to miss several games. This injury was a setback, but his resilience allowed him to come back and continue to develop. Though his time with the Bullets was short, it was a stepping stone that prepared him for greater challenges ahead. Despite the injury, his time in Washington gave him the initial experience he needed to become a bigger presence in the NBA. And soon after, he was traded to the Portland Trail Blazers, a move that would define the next chapter of his career. The Portland Trail Blazers saw great potential in Wallace and acquired him after his rookie year. This trade was the one that would change the course of his career, and the Trail Blazers were ready to give him a platform to grow. He was part of a team that had serious playoff aspirations, and Wallace was a key figure in the Blazers' journey towards the top of the Western Conference. Over the next several years, Wallace proved to be a vital piece for Portland. His scoring, defense, and rebounding made him one of the most well-rounded players on the roster. One of the defining seasons of Wallace's career came in 2002 when he averaged a career-high 19 points per game. His offensive game was as versatile as it was effective, and he was a constant presence on both ends of the floor. The 1999-2000 seasons were particularly memorable for the Trail Blazers as they made it to the Western Conference Finals in both years. Unfortunately, despite his standout performances, the Blazers could not capture that elusive NBA Finals appearance. In 1999, they were eliminated by the San Antonio Spurs, and in 2000, it was the Los Angeles Lakers who would stand in their way. Rasheed, however, made his mark as a clutch performer, and his talent was undeniable. Off the court, Wallace developed a reputation for his fiery demeanor, a trait that would follow him throughout his career. His competitive edge often boiled over into confrontations with officials, and it wasn't uncommon for him to find himself in trouble with the refs. He set the NBA record for the most technical fouls in a single season, which only added to his tough guy persona. While this fiery attitude was part of what made Wallace such an intense player, it also led to frequent ejections. He ended his time with the Blazers as one of the most controversial figures in the league, with his involvement in the infamous Jail Blazers era. Despite these challenges, Wallace's talent was undeniable. He was named an NBA All-Star in both 2000 and 2001, further solidifying his place among the league's elite. However, the Blazers' inability to secure a championship weighed heavily on the franchise. Wallace's individual success was always overshadowed by the team's inability to reach the NBA Finals. And by the time the 2003-2004 season came around, the team decided it was time to move in a different direction. Wallace was traded to the Atlanta Hawks, where he would play just one game before another trade that sent him to the Detroit Pistons, where his career would truly take off. Wallace's time with the Atlanta Hawks was brief. After being traded to the Hawks during the 2004 season, he played only one game with the team, and in that game he scored 20 points and grabbed 6 boards. However, this was just a fleeting moment, as Wallace was quickly traded to the Detroit Pistons, where he would go on to experience the peak of his career. Despite his short stay in Atlanta, Wallace's time with the Hawks served as a brief transition before his eventual championship run with the Pistons. The Detroit Pistons became the team where Rasheed would achieve the most success in his career. After joining the Pistons in 2004, he helped lead the team to an NBA championship that season. His arrival in Detroit was a literal game changer for the Pistons. His versatility on both ends of the floor immediately made him a crucial asset. The Pistons were already a strong defensive team, but Wallace added another layer of toughness and skill. His size, athleticism, and basketball IQ helped the Pistons become one of the most complete teams in the league. In the 2004 NBA Finals, he played a crucial role in the Pistons' unexpected victory over the heavily favored Los Angeles Lakers. Rasheed's contributions in Game 4, where he recorded 26 points, 13 boards, and had 2 assists, were pivotal in helping the Pistons push the Lakers to the brink of elimination. Detroit would go on to gentlemen sweep the Lakers in 5 games, with Wallace's leadership being one of the defining factors in their success. His ability to score, rebound, and defend allowed the Pistons to counter the Lakers' superstar starting lineup and emerge as champions. After the victory, Wallace, known for his larger-than-life personality, of course, gave each of his teammates replica of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship belt as a gesture of appreciation. Wallace's presence on the court also influenced the team's culture. He brought a unique flair to the Pistons both on and off the floor. In the 2004-2005 season, Wallace and the Pistons returned to the NBA Finals, but this time they were unable to overcome the San Antonio Spurs, losing the series in 7 games. Wallace's strong performances throughout the playoffs was not enough to lift Detroit to another title, and the Pistons were left to reflect on what could have been. Still, Wallace continued to be an all-star, making the 2006 and 2008 All-Star teams and remained a key figure in Detroit's success. Despite their playoff appearances, the Pistons could not capture another NBA championship, and as the team began to change, Wallace's time with the Pistons came to a close after the 2008-2009 season. At this point, he had established himself as one of the league's top players, and his time in Detroit would always be remembered for his pivotal role in the team's championship success. After leaving the Pistons, Wallace signed a 3-year contract with the Boston Celtics in 2009, and it was clear that Wallace was nearing the end of his career. But the Celtics saw him as a key piece to their championship aspirations. However, Wallace's time in Boston was marked by struggles. He failed to live up to the high expectations set for him, and his performances dipped significantly. He averaged career lows in points and rebounds, and his shooting percentages dropped considerably. Despite his struggles during the regular season, Wallace was still a valuable asset to the team. The Celtics made it to the NBA Finals in 2010, where they faced off against the Los Angeles Lakers in a rematch of the 2008 Finals. And Wallace played a crucial role in the Celtics' playoff run, particularly when the team's starting center Kendrick Perkins was injured. Wallace stepped up and started Game 7 of the Finals, though the Celtics lost the series in 7 games. Wallace's contributions were still recognized. His veteran presence and leadership were invaluable during the postseason, even if his performances on the court wasn't as sharp as they once was. Following the loss to the Lakers in the 2010 Finals, Wallace announced that he would likely retire. This decision was confirmed later in the year after the Celtics bought out his contract. Wallace's retirement marked the end of an era for the big man, who has seen it all during his long and eventful career. In 2012, after a brief hiatus, Rasheed Wallace came out of retirement to sign with the New York Knicks for one final run in the NBA. His return was short-lived, and Wallace played just a handful of games for the Knicks before injuries took their toll. A broken left foot in February of 2013 sidelined him for the remainder of the season, and despite his return to the court for one final game in April, Wallace officially announced his second retirement shortly after. Although his stint with the Knicks was brief, it was a fitting conclusion to a career that has spanned 16 seasons. One of the standout facts about Rasheed is his record for the most career ejections in NBA history, a title he earned with 29 ejections over his long career. Wallace's emotional style of play often led to heated exchanges with referees. His fiery attitude was well known across the league. If something didn't go his way on the court, he wasn't afraid to voice his frustration, and sometimes this would lead to his expulsion from the game. It wasn't uncommon to see Wallace argue calls with an intensity that could literally shake an entire arena. The sheer number of technical fouls he received was staggering, with Wallace setting the record for the most technical fouls in the season with 41 during the 2000-2001 NBA season. While his outbursts were a source of frustration for referees and opposing players, they also underscored his passion for the game and his commitment to competing at the highest level. However, Wallace's emotional demeanor was not always about anger or frustration. He became famous for a phrase that summed up his on-court personality: "Ball don't lie." Wallace popularized this phrase during his career, using it whenever an opposing player missed a free throw after a controversial call. For Wallace, it was more than just a catchphrase. It was a way for him to communicate he was right on whatever he said on the court. It became a rallying cry for fans who shared his frustrations with certain officiating calls. And "ball don't lie" is something we all use today, whether we playing in organized basketball or playing at the park. Wallace's unwavering belief in the idea that the basketball gods would right the wrongs through missed free throws earned him both admiration and criticism. Regardless of how people felt about his antics, there was no denying that Wallace had found a way to turn his frustrations into a memorable trademark. Perhaps one of the most unforgettable on-court moments in Wallace's career occurred during the 2008 NBA playoffs. After a tough loss to the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, he went on an emotional tirade against the referees. Known for his fiery demeanor, Wallace unleashed an explosive rant that became one of the most talked about incidents of that postseason. His outburst was a reflection of how much he cared about winning and the intense pressures of the moment. It wasn't just a random act of frustration. It was the culmination of years of dealing with the ups and downs of an intense playoff series. In his mind, Wallace felt that the officiating had been unfair, and he voiced his displeasure in a way that no one would soon forget. The incident became part of the myth of Rasheed Wallace, a player whose passion often boiled over but who always left everything on the floor. Wallace's on-court personality and intensity were critical parts of his success, but they also contributed to his reputation as one of the most controversial and entertaining players in NBA history. He was a player who could turn a game on his head with his offensive skill set, but he could also shift the energy of a game with heated exchanges with the refs. Whether you loved him or you hated him, there was no denying that Wallace's fiery spirit made him one of the most unique and memorable players to ever step on an NBA court. Beyond his career, Rasheed Wallace's personal life has also been marked by his close family bonds and his commitment to his faith and community. Family has always been a central part of Wallace's life, and he has often spoken about the importance of maintaining a strong family foundation. Despite the demands of his professional basketball career, Wallace has always made it clear that his family comes first. This commitment to family is something that carried over into his work off the court as well, particularly in his philanthropic efforts and community involvement. In addition to his family, Wallace is a devoted follower of Islam, a faith that has shaped many aspects of his life. While his public persona often centered on his fiery attitude and competitive natures, those who know Wallace personally understand that his faith plays an important role in his character. His beliefs helped ground him during his highs and lows in his career, and he often spoke about how his spirituality influenced the way he approached life and basketball. Religion has always been a deeply personal part of Wallace's life, and he has used his platform to encourage others to find strength and guidance through their faith. Wallace's personal interests and hobbies also reflect his connection to his roots. Though he was raised in Philadelphia, Wallace is an avid fan of the Kansas City Chiefs, a surprising choice for many who would associate him with his hometown sports teams. His support for the Chiefs stand out, especially considering his background as a Philadelphia sports fan, where the Eagles, the city's NFL team, would be the natural choice. However, his love for the Chiefs has been a long-standing part of his personal identity. In addition to his passion for football, Wallace is also a loyal fan of the Philadelphia Flyers, the city's NHL team. His interest in the Flyers reflect his love for the sport of hockey and his deep ties to his hometown. Even though he made a name for himself in basketball, Wallace's appreciation in other sports highlights his well-rounded nature and his ability to connect with different aspects of sports culture. Wallace's nephew, Quadir Welton, has followed him in his footsteps and made a name for himself in the basketball world. Quadir has become a professional player in his own right, and Rasheed has been a mentor to him, offering guidance based on his own experiences in the league. Family and basketball go hand in hand for Wallace, and he takes great pride in watching his relatives succeed in the sport that brought him fame. Wallace's influence extends beyond the basketball court, particularly when it comes to his activism and philanthropic efforts. One of the most notable causes he has supported is the Flint water crisis. Wallace became one of the most vocal athletes in raising awareness about the water contamination crisis in Flint, Michigan. Seeing the devastation impact it had on the community, Wallace took action by personally delivering bottled water to residents in need. His efforts were not just about writing a check or making a public statement. Wallace literally got involved on the ground level, helping those who were most affected by the crisis. In addition to his efforts in Flint, Wallace used his platform to engage in other social issues. He has written articles for the Players Tribune, a publication that gives athletes a chance to share their voices directly with the public. Wallace has been outspoken about many of the struggles facing communities, particularly issues of racial inequality and injustice. Him being outspoken goes beyond the usual confines of sports. He has used his experiences to inspire change in both his fans and his fellow athletes. Wallace's humanitarian work hasn't stopped with the Flint water crisis. He has been a source of inspiration for other athletes and celebrities to get involved in charitable causes. Wallace's commitment to using his fame for good has inspired many others to follow in his footsteps. His philanthropic work has made a real difference in the lives of those he has helped, and it continues to serve as an example of how athletes can use their platforms to create positive change. After retiring from the NBA, Rasheed Wallace transitioned into coaching, a move that allowed him to stay connected to the game he loved while giving back to the next generation of players. In 2013, Wallace joined the Detroit Pistons staff as an assistant coach. His experience as both a player and a leader made him a valuable asset to the team. He worked with the Pistons for one season before being let go in the 2013-2014 season. His time with Detroit was brief, but it marked the beginning of his coaching career. In 2019, Wallace took on a new challenge by becoming the head coach for the boys varsity basketball team at Charles E. Jordan High School in Durham, North Carolina. This role allowed Wallace to work closely with young athletes, teaching them not only the fundamentals of basketball, but also the values of hard work, discipline, and leadership. His presence at Jordan High School was a reflection of his desire to give back to the community and inspire the next generation of players. In 2021, Wallace took on another coaching opportunity when he joined Penny Hardaway's staff at the University of Memphis as an assistant coach. His connection to Hardaway, who was also a former NBA player, helped Wallace transition into the college world. However, due to personal reasons, Wallace transitioned into a remote coaching role later that season. Despite the challenges of adapting to a new coaching environment, Wallace's experience and basketball IQ made him a respected figure on the Memphis coaching staff. As of the time of this recording, you can catch Sheed on various different podcasts, giving his take on the NBA and other things. Rasheed Wallace's life and career has been marked by passion, commitment, and a drive to make a difference both on and off the court. Known for his fiery personality and his remarkable skill set, Wallace left a lasting legacy in the NBA. Whether it was through his on-court moments of brilliance or his important causes, Wallace proved that his impact went far beyond basketball. His transition into coaching and his continued efforts in philanthropy reflect his desire to continue shaping the future, both in the world of sports and in the community at large. But what if I told you about a guy who was a two-time All-Star, won Most Improved Player of the Year, had almost 20,000 career points, grabbed over 10,000 career rebounds, and was one of the NBA's most physical yet skilled big men? Just disappeared one day. If you want to know about what happened to Zach Randolph, just click right here.